A city-killer asteroid is incoming. The impact zone is uncertain, but if you're anywhere near the blast radius, survival is going to take serious preparation, quick thinking, and a whole lot of luck. Today, we're breaking down exactly what you need to do to maximize your chances of survival in the face of a catastrophic asteroid strike. If you're serious about prepping for real threats, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a survival guide that could save your life. 1. Understanding the threat. A city-buster asteroid is a space rock between 50 and 100 meters in diameter. While not large enough to trigger global extinction, it packs the energy of multiple nuclear bombs, leveling cities and killing millions instantly. These asteroids typically travel at speeds of 30,000 mph or more, meaning impact forces are catastrophic. When an asteroid of this size hits, it generates an explosion that releases extreme heat, an intense shockwave, and deadly debris. The immediate blast zone, about 10 miles from the impact, will be completely annihilated. Beyond that, fires will spread, buildings will collapse, and an immense amount of dust and debris will be thrown into the atmosphere, potentially triggering a nuclear winter effect that can cause long-term disruptions to climate, food production, and society. The 1908 Tunguska event in Siberia was caused by an asteroid or comet roughly 50 meters wide. It exploded in the atmosphere with a force 1,000 times greater than the Hiroshima bomb, flattening over 800 square miles of forest. If such an event happened over a populated city today, the devastation would be unimaginable. Understanding the scale of destruction helps us prepare accordingly. If you live in or near a major city, you need a solid survival plan. A city-buster asteroid is not just about surviving the initial impact. It's about enduring the chaos that follows. 2. Advance warning and tracking. Most large asteroids are tracked by organizations like NASA's Near-Earth Object Program, but smaller ones can go undetected until it's too late. If an impact event is predicted, authorities may issue warnings hours or days in advance. However, depending on the asteroid's size, speed, and trajectory, the window for preparation may be very small. The first sign of an impending impact could be news alerts, emergency government broadcasts, or local sirens. The earlier you learn about the threat, the better your chances of survival. Keep a battery-powered emergency radio on hand to receive alerts even if power and internet fail. If the government issues an evacuation order, do not hesitate. Leave immediately before roads get jammed. If an asteroid strike is imminent and there is no chance for evacuation, you need to prepare for sheltering in place. Reinforcing your home's structure, sealing windows and doors, and having a stockpile of food, water, and medical supplies can help increase your survival odds. Monitoring asteroid tracking websites and understanding the warning signs will give you the critical time needed to act before disaster strikes. 3. The immediate impact zone. If you're ground zero. If you're within 10 miles of the asteroid's impact, survival is nearly impossible unless you are in a fortified underground structure. The explosion will generate extreme heat, incinerating everything in its path. Buildings, vehicles, and even people will be vaporized instantly. The shockwave that follows will level concrete structures and send debris flying at deadly speeds. The only way to survive ground zero is to be deep underground, at least 30 feet below the surface in a reinforced bunker, subway tunnel, or deep basement. Many modern buildings are not built to withstand such an event, so you need to identify locations in your city that could serve as improvised fallout shelters. Subways, underground parking garages, and old bomb shelters provide the best protection. If you are above ground and too close to the impact, your best chance is to get inside the strongest possible building and take cover in the basement or a central room with no windows. Brace yourself for extreme shaking, collapsing structures, and flying debris. Once the blast wave passes, you'll need to assess the situation quickly. Fires, toxic air, and secondary collapses will make survival even harder in the minutes following the impact. 4. Evacuating the danger zone. If you're between 10 and 50 miles from the projected impact zone, you have a chance to escape, but only if you act fast. The moment an asteroid impact warning is confirmed, millions of people will panic. Roads will jam, gas stations will empty, and law enforcement may struggle to maintain order. If you don't leave early, you may not be able to leave at all. Preparation is key. Your bug-out bag should always be packed with water, non-perishable food, first aid supplies, a flashlight, extra batteries, a fire starter, maps, and cash. If you own a vehicle, keep the gas tank at least half full at all times. When disaster strikes, gas pumps will either be empty or inoperable. Know your routes. Highways will turn into parking lots within minutes. Pre-plan at least 3 alternate escape routes, including back roads, train tracks, rivers, or even hiking trails. A bicycle or motorcycle can help bypass traffic, and if you're near navigable water, a small boat or kayak can provide an alternate escape path. If you can't escape in time, the next best option is to find deep shelter. Reinforced underground areas, subway tunnels, storm shelters, or parking garages can shield you from the worst of the impact. But time is critical. If you're within 50 miles of impact and still in an open area, you need to find cover immediately before the shockwave arrives. 5. Surviving the shockwave. The asteroid impact will generate a massive shockwave traveling at supersonic speeds. It will flatten buildings, snap trees, and throw debris with enough force to tear through concrete. If you're still in the area, surviving this initial blast is your top priority. Where to shelter? If you're in a building, get as low and central as possible. Basements, underground parking garages, or reinforced interior rooms provide the best protection. If you're outside, seek out a ditch, ravine, or sturdy structure to shield yourself from flying debris. Do not take shelter in vehicles, they offer little protection. If you have no shelter, lie flat on the ground, face down, and cover your head with your hands. The lower you are, the better your chances of avoiding debris carried by the shockwave. Protect yourself from debris. Stay away from windows. Shattered glass will become deadly projectiles. Use heavy furniture or mattresses as a shield if you're inside. Wear protective gear. A helmet, thick clothing, and goggles can reduce injuries from flying debris. Once the shockwave has passed, do not leave your shelter immediately. Secondary collapses, fires, and debris falls could still pose a deadly threat. Take a moment to assess your surroundings before attempting to move. 6. Firestorms and secondary explosions. The extreme heat from an asteroid impact will ignite massive firestorms. Buildings, trees, and anything flammable will catch fire instantly. Worse, ruptured gas lines, chemical plants, and fuel storage tanks could explode, creating chain reactions of destruction. How to survive a firestorm. If indoors, seal off windows and doors with wet towels or blankets to keep smoke out. Stay low to the ground. Smoke and toxic gases rise, and oxygen is more available near the floor. Do not use elevators. They may lose power or trap you. If you must escape, soak a cloth with water and cover your nose and mouth to avoid inhaling toxic fumes. Outdoor survival tactics. Move to open areas. Parks, large parking lots, or bodies of water offer better protection. If trapped, cover yourself with a wet blanket or jacket to prevent burns. Avoid underground areas with limited ventilation. Fires consume oxygen rapidly. The fire risk will last for hours or even days after the impact. So staying mobile, aware, and ready to relocate is critical. If you're in an urban area, fires may spread rapidly, cutting off escape routes. Have a backup plan and a secondary shelter in mind. 7. The fallout. Surviving debris and dust. Beyond fire and destruction, the asteroid impact will send tons of dust, rock, and debris into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight for weeks or even months. This asteroid winter effect could trigger global cooling, food shortages, and widespread devastation. Key survival steps. Have a long-term food and water supply. Crops will fail and food distribution networks may collapse. Aim for at least 3 months' worth of non-perishable food and water. Prepare for extreme temperature drops. Ash clouds could lower temperatures by 10 to 20 degrees, making heating essential. Stockpile warm clothing, propane heaters, and thermal blankets. Wear masks or respirators. The air may be filled with toxic dust and debris. An N95 mask or better will protect your lungs. Avoid contaminated water. Ash and debris can poison water sources. Have a gravity-fed water filter or purification tablets on hand. This phase of survival isn't about just making it through the first few days. It's about staying alive for weeks or months in a post-impact world that may be unrecognizable. 8. Dealing with societal collapse. A city-killer asteroid impact won't just cause physical destruction. It will trigger mass panic, government breakdowns, and lawlessness. With law enforcement overwhelmed, looting, violence, and resource hoarding will become widespread. How to protect yourself. Stay armed and alert. Firearms, non-lethal weapons, and defensive training will be necessary to defend your supplies and loved ones. Form a survival group. Strength in numbers increases security. Find trustworthy allies to build a strong support system. Avoid high-risk areas. Cities will become war zones. If possible, relocate to rural or isolated areas with natural resources. Barter and trade. Cash may become worthless. Stockpile valuable items like fuel, medicine, ammo, and food for post-collapse trade. Survival will depend on self-sufficiency, awareness, and adaptability. The ability to defend your home, find supplies, and navigate dangerous areas will be crucial. 9. Long-term survival and rebuilding. Months or even years after impact, survival will shift from immediate crisis mode to long-term adaptation. Food, shelter, and energy will become lifelines for rebuilding. Key survival skills for long-term recovery. Grow your own food. Learn to cultivate indoor hydroponic gardens, raise livestock, and forage for edible plants. Secure fresh water sources. Wells, rainwater collection, and water purification will be vital for long-term survival. Rebuild power sources. Small-scale solar panels, wind turbines, and DIY energy solutions can help restore electricity. Develop survival communities. Isolation is dangerous. Establishing mutual aid networks increases protection and resource access. Those who prepare ahead of time will have the best chance of adapting and thriving in a post-impact world. 10. Final preparations. What you can do now. The best way to survive a city-buster asteroid strike? Prepare before it happens. Stockpile food, water, and emergency gear. At least 3 months' worth. Map out escape routes. Have at least 3 different ways to leave your area. Identify shelters. Know where the nearest underground bunkers or fortified buildings are. Stay informed. Monitor asteroid tracking sites and government alerts. Train in survival skills. Fire-making, self-defense, medical aid, and food production can mean the difference between life and death. A city-buster asteroid strike is rare but not impossible. Your best defense is preparation. If you found this survival guide useful, hit that subscribe button and join the Doomsday Prepper community. Because when the world is on fire, the prepared will always have the best chance of survival.